Smells suspicious down here. Ooh.
Hang on just a second, I'll turn the real lights on.
That's pretty. Come now or keep waiting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nice. C.W. Stroot. Obstacle course in here.
I do, but why? That's just because the light makes smoke. Weird place to have smoke.
What's our elevation here?
Our elevation, we're at about 2,300 feet above sea level right now. All right, so we're down here. This is a limestone cavern. It's the largest limestone cavern in Washington. That's what the walls are made out of. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. It forms in ancient ocean basins about 500 million years ago, which is so old it was about 400 million years before any dinosaurs walked the earth. In fact, it was a whole 250 million years before anything walked the earth. All life was in the oceans at the time. There was a shallow sea here, the coastline of which was somewhere near the Idaho-Montana border. As a result, we'd have been swimming under about a half-mile of ocean at this particular point. There's a lot of biological activity in that ocean, producing calcium carbonate shells, things like clams, brachiopods, snails, mussels, trilobites, things like that. When they die, their calcite shells fall down to the bottom of the ocean. They get ground up by wave action and turned into a fine limey mud. And that what eventually gets compactified, and here's your big word for the day, lithified, and turned into the rock that we see growing on the walls here. Now the story of this cave picks up again another 10 million years ago when a crack opens up between this rock here, the Medellin limestone, and up here, the Ledbetter shale, probably forced open by these tree roots, that's what they are, reaching their way down into here. It opens up a wide enough crack for water to start flowing through this cave. As a result, over 10 million years of water flowing through, dissolving and abrading the rocks down here, it's widened the cave out to the point now where it's about 20 feet wide and about 30 feet high.
Oh, they did?
Goodness gracious, that's a hell of a candle. What is that?
13,000 lumens. It's got like 3 or 4 batteries inside of it.
Cool.
Unfortunately, if I use it all the time, it overheats. So it's only good for little spurts. They don't warn you, it's only like 13,000 lumens for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then it goes. Anyway.
All right, so I mentioned this cave formed from the dissolving of limestone. Of course, anything that you dissolve, you can also, if you remove the water, undissolve it. That's what we've got going on here. This here is called a flow stone because water flows over it to form it. This starts out as just a little drop on the ceiling. Every time one of those drops lands, it deposits a small amount of calcite, and I do mean a small amount. A feature like this will typically grow at the rate of about ½ an inch every 100 years. So this feature here is well over 10,000 years old in the forming. Now people, when they come into caves, they like to look at these flow stones and read different shapes into them. So I'll point out a couple that you can see on this particular one. This whole structure here, we call the Christmas tree because it looks a little bit like a snow-laden tree. Up here in our zoo of animals, we've got a walrus. Everybody see him?
Yeah.
Down here we got a black bear. Over here we've got a lizard head, kind of like the skink that's been living in our office for the past week that we can't seem to get rid of. Down here we've got a piece of broccoli and some rather unfortunate looking cauliflower. Definitely been in the fridge a couple weeks too long. Over here, this one is called the pipe organ. This one has probably been the most extensively damaged out of all of the features in here. But it does allow you to see, glinting in the light, the crystal faces of the pure mineral calcite. Everybody see that dancing around there as I shine the light on it. Calcite, being a pure mineral, maintains its optical properties, which even though this is solid rock, I can shine a light straight through it. In fact, in the early days of this cave, people would put candles in this structure, and the whole rock would glow like a chandelier.
Like a jack-o'-lantern. Oops. I couldn't help the one.
Excuse me.
Is it a pack rat nest?
Indeed it is. Up here, we've got the most extensive of our signature walls. A number of signatures up there. We've got Mike and Bill. They were here a few times. John, Luke, Greg, a number of, white guy names from the early 20th century, as well as some cat faces over there. Everybody see those? Unclear whether or not they thought those cats were their gods. Maybe in 10,000 years, some future anthropologist is going to come down here and think that early 20th century humans used to worship cats. Although given the state of the internet, that might actually be kind of true. Down here, we've got the first of the evidence of the actual inhabitants of this cave, the pack rats. Pack rat in this instance does not refer to that weird uncle you've got that's kept every copy of the New York Times since 1953. It instead refers to the bushy-tailed wood rat. Rather large rodent, about 12 inches from tip to tail. Very cute though, but a little bit gross. They come out at night out of this cave, and they tour around and they pick up things off the forest floor like sticks, twigs, leaves, pine needles, etc. They bring it down here to form their nest. The pack rats, though, travel this cave in total darkness. We turn the lights out after the last tour. So they have to navigate this cave not by sight, not by hearing, because they don't have echolocation like their bat cousins. They must, like how Gandalf says, follow their noses. Although rather unlike Gandalf, the way that they do it is they pee on their bushy tail, they drag it behind them to leave a scent track in and out of the cave, and they use their very finely tuned sense of smell to follow their tracks in and out. In fact, their noses are so good, they can tell the difference between their own pee and other rats' pees. So they always show up at the right nest. It's a little gross, but I dare say they can get around in total darkness a lot better than we can. Something I'll be showing you a taste of towards the end of the tour.
Is there any evidence that Native Americans ever came in this cave?
There is none. We'd be looking for things like fire pits, which we don't see. We'd be looking for things like